In this first demo, we'll show how to create a database cluster with Splice Machine. We'll create the cluster, we'll set up the database, load the data, and run our first query, all in under 20 minutes. Let's log in with Google, use our identity there, and it will take us to the dashboard for our clusters, and there we choose to create a cluster. Call it simple example and set up the parameters for it. We'll use 0.5 terabyte of data, and given that this is a small demo, we'll just do 4 units of each O2P Splice units and OLAP Splice units. We'll see the price that we'll charge for this cluster monthly, and we'll see the basic performance statistics that we can expect from this cluster, and that allows us to adjust it if necessary. We'll go to the second screen, in which we can set up where to host our applications that talk to the database and where to load data in S3 buckets or run external data in S3 buckets, as the case may be. When done, we read and accept the terms and conditions, and we'll launch the database. We now see this database in our dashboard listed as initializing, and after about 10 to 15 minutes we'll see an email coming in that provides us the details such as the address for ODBC, JDBC, and so forth. Now we see in the dashboard that the database is active, and so let's go to this simple example database. In the dashboard for this database, we see at the top right a connection for notebooks, which is a very handy feature of Splice Machine. Zeppelin notebooks are a very elegant way of interacting with the database. We'll demonstrate it by going to the demo folder, to the demo notebook, the one that's called Simple Example. You see these paragraphs there, and each of them has a Splice Machine interpreter, which enables us to talk SQL directly to Splice Machine database. Simply run this. When we hit the run button, this creates a schema called example, and the next step is that we'll create a table called line item for which we create primary keys and all that, and so that's done now. Next paragraph, we load data from S3, and that gives us 6 million records in this table. Then we'll see that it all works by running a count against the database, and sure enough, that gives us the same number of records. To complete the setup, we'll create some indexes for this table, and we run a compaction. And if you're familiar with the HBase HDFS infrastructure from Hadoop, you will recognize this, and that's because Splice Machine is hosted on that infrastructure. The last step in the preparation is to run to collect statistics. Splice has a cost-based optimizer, and with statistics it can run very efficient execution plans for SQL queries. And when that's done, we're done with all the setup and we're ready to start operations. So we'll do that by running this query here, which does about 8 different aggregations across these 6 million rows and sorts it by 2 fields and orders it by 2 others, and there we got the answers. This query took about 12 seconds to come up with its result. I used the power of video editing to show this to you in about 4 minutes, but even without it, it would have taken less than 20 minutes to run through all these steps. And that gives you a powerful database that is capable of what we refer to as hybrid processing. It runs both operations, NC SQL with ACID transactions and highly concurrent workloads, ready to support operational applications, as well as powerful analytic workloads where reporting and aggregations and machine learning are done against the full data set. For applications, it has ODBC and JDBC access, and for analysts, for people that want to do prototyping, research, even demos like what we are doing here, we have these integrated Zeppelin notebooks that has a Splice Machine interpreter so that you can talk SQL directly to the Splice Machine database.